Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and welcome to 2021. Usually I like to start the new year by making a video reminiscing on the year prior before taking a look at what's to come in the year ahead, but it should go without saying that 2020 is maybe not exactly the year we want to reminisce on. There are definitely some good spots, but maybe for the most part, why don't we just focus on the new year, right? What can we expect in the new year, at least in regards to Toku, because I'm a Tokusatsu channel? There's a lot, actually. For some reason, the big three of Tokusatsu are celebrating their anniversaries. Kamen Rider is going to be celebrating its 50th anniversary. Right now we have Saber going strong, in my opinion. It's by far not the greatest season of Kamen Rider, really, but I think it's adequate and it's a good bit of fun to watch. Super Sentai is going to be celebrating its 45th season with Zenkaiger in an absolutely wacky fashion I am absolutely here for. But before we can get to Zenkaiger, of course, we have to finish out Cure Major, which is a very, very fun season that I'm enjoying a lot. Ultraman, I finally got into Ultraman. It's celebrating its 55th anniversary, which is very exciting and a little terrifying as a new fan of the show, but I can't wait for whatever the new season is going to be and whatever other stuff happens during the year. I don't really know how Ultraman works throughout the year. Power Rangers just has Dino Fury, which who knows how that's going to turn out, but as a fan of Ryu Soldier, a huge fan of Ryu Soldier, I'm looking forward to how the season will be adapted, and mostly to buy all the Ryu Soldier stuff at a cheaper price without killing my wallet in regards to shipping. For the channel, for me, I've got actually a bit planned for once. For starters, I now have a Patreon. I'm gonna talk about it in detail at the end of the video, but yeah, I have a Patreon set up now. Link in the description, be sure to check it out if you want to support me further. My main plan for the year is not the Patreon. It's to actually make it to 20,000 subscribers, something I don't usually set out with a milestone. But last year I somehow hit 10,000 subscribers in the beginning of the year, which is a really crazy number. Something about 10,000, I don't know if it's like the extra zero, maybe it's like kind of the last big step before like 100,000, which I'll never get to, but it's something about it is a really crazy next step up from other milestones, and we're actually so close to 20,000. I think it would be really cool to hit it, so I'm gonna actually be talking about that in videos to try to get to 20,000. Obviously, I need some sort of incentive to get you guys subscribed if you aren't already, so the 20,000 subscribers special is going to be Tokusatsu Fan Ideas 3. I'm locking that in. There you go. That's out there. For normal videos, I'm gonna be focusing on season reviews for the foreseeable future, because I kind of hit like a stride at some point last year where I kind of found this nice balance of like kind of just talking about what I liked in the show as opposed to like looking at it like analytically, but like I kind of have a mix of that. I've kind of found a liking to reviewing shows in a big long video, so I'm gonna be trying to do more of that for the beginning of the year. First up is the long overdue videos I promised would be coming out at the end of last year, and I haven't started most of them. So Den-O review and its rider potential will be the first two out. After that will be Shinkenger and its special Sentai potential video I'm working on with that. And then Ultraman Orb, because I saw that and I really like Orb. And after that, I'll probably be reviewing Ultraman Zet, just because it's my first Ultraman show that I watched live and I really want to talk about it. I'm a little unsure about reviewing Beast Morphers, Power Rangers Beast Morphers, since that ended around the same time and Power Ranger stuff is kind of dry on my channel specifically, so be sure to just let me know if you're interested in my thoughts on that show. I'll probably figure something out. Obviously Beast Morphers and Zet, I fell behind on those because I didn't do a lot of videos at the end of last year, so I just wanted to apologize for the lack of videos at the end of last year. I got extremely busy with personal stuff I had to focus on, and I couldn't spend really much time on writing out videos, so that's why my last few uploads were just like off the wall unboxings and gameplays. I'm going to try to hit the ground running this year since I've got a lot of things I want to talk about, and I hope you're all looking forward to it as well. So now it's actually time to get into your questions, because I wanted to do a little bit of a Q&A to start the year off, because it's been so long since I've done one and there's been a lot of new subscribers since I did that, so this is kind of like a let's just get to know Thomas Jujube all over again. Maybe that's not the best way toward that, but let's begin. First question is, why do you hate X8 so much? What a wonderful start to this. I need to clarify that is sarcasm because Kamen Rider X8 is my favorite tokusatsu. So, yeah. When will we get your fight against Markusatsu promised in your zero... My sword driver just went off. When will we get your fight against Markusatsu promised in your 0-1 discussion? I have no idea, but Marcos has a sword driver of his own now, and I have had a sword driver of my own along with way too many other Seikens, so I think it's inevitable. Marcos, the ball's in your court. Why exactly is X8 your favorite season of Kamen Rider? So hopefully I'll be able to talk about X8 in extreme detail at some point this year, but to give a brief summary, X8 is kind of a combination of everything I want in a tokusatsu. Like, the nature of the genre is it's going to be wacky, it's going to be silly. Like, they're wearing spandex, they're punching rubber monsters. Like, I don't want, like, them to take it too seriously, and X8 doesn't take itself too seriously, as you can see with, like, all the suits. It also does find that balance to take itself seriously and have this wackiness that is just part of the tokusatsu genre, but also combine it with this maturity that I would want in a show. And it has this wonderful balance between being like a wacky show and a really interesting and compelling show. And it also has Hyper Muteki. Has a scene in Rider ever made you tear up or straight up cried? No, but I have gotten close. The all Kamen Rider scene in Heisei Generations Forever, that's, I don't know, the soundtrack in that, just kind of all the riders appearing, that was really kind of an emotional scene. But I think, like, the one I really would think of is the finale of Build. I'm not gonna specify in case you haven't seen Build, but there's one specific moment at the end of Build where Be the One starts playing, and that's a really powerful moment in my opinion. Of all of the Kamen Rider series you've seen, which one has the soundtrack you like the most? So here's another reason I really like X8. X8's soundtrack is really fantastic. X8's background music is so diverse because it changes with each character, at least, to fit like the genre of the game the characters are based on. Like X8 and Genmu have like this action-y music. Brave has like this fantasy styled music. Laser has like racing. I just really like how diverse the soundtracks are with each individual character and how those, like, this very simple melody for each character evolves with each of their forms. Would I watch a movie or read a comic about any Sentai meeting their Power Rangers counterparts? Yes, I would. That sounds like a really fun idea. I would absolutely read or watch whatever Sentai meeting their Power Rangers counterparts. I would actually really like to see Boom Studios do that because it would be kind of interesting to see like the Omega Rangers meet the G Rangers. They were part of the same team, but it's like a kind of, they're completely different takes, I guess. What inspired me to make this channel? I was bored one summer, but it's also because, like, I don't really know anyone who enjoys tokusatsu in real life, so I just kind of made the channel as a way to talk about tokusatsu, and in doing so, I have actually found people who do enjoy tokusatsu as much as I do, and I think it's been a really great experience, so I'm really happy about that. What's my favorite tokusatsu show that's not from Japan? Well, the only tokusatsu shows I have seen that are not from Japan is Power Rangers. So my favorite season is like basically a tie between SPD and Dino Thunder. So instead, I'm just gonna take out tokusatsu. And what's my favorite show that's not from Japan? I started watching Lost during the time I was stuck at home, and I really love Lost. That's my favorite show of all time now. It's got this wonderful balance of plot, character progression, intrigue, story, just all of it is packed into the show, and it's really amazing, and you should try to watch Lost if you can. Is there any unpopular opinion that you have that goes against the fandom's overall consensus? So the fandom's overall consensus doesn't really matter. From what I've seen, there is not really an overall consensus from the fandom. Like, we'll take an example. We'll take X-Aid, right? For the most part, I see people are very positive on X-Aid, like myself. But at the same time, I've seen quite a few people who don't enjoy X-Aid, and that's fine. You don't have to enjoy X-Aid. But, like, I don't feel like there's an overall consensus for anything, and there shouldn't be, because each individual season of Tokusatsu is so diverse. It doesn't matter. Like, Ghost, I see a lot of people hate Ghost, but at the same time, I've seen quite a few people that will defend Ghost, and that is perfectly fine. You're well within your right. So, like, for me, I can't really answer this question because I don't feel like I have an unpopular opinion, because I've seen a lot of people who share the same opinion as I do on certain things. So, like, I don't feel like I'm going against an overall consensus, because there is no overall consensus. Do I ever plan to expand on Kamen Rider Sinja? In case you don't know what Kamen Rider Sinja is, that's my personal Kamen Rider idea. That's, the one I've really, like, attached to the most. I believe I talked about it in the last Q&A, so that's a bit of a crossover for that. I do want to expand on Kamen Rider Sinja. I was thinking of ideas to do and kind of go over it. If I did ever expand on it, which I hopefully will at some point, but I'm not going to guarantee anything, I'll do like a full, like, kind of, I guess, a history of Kamen Rider copycat. But it would be my own personal idea. So do I ever plan to expand on it? Yeah, I have plans to expand on it, but will those ideas ever see the light of day? I have no idea. Do you have an idea for an original Ultra series? If so, what? Not really. I haven't really given any thought about an original Ultraman season, especially since I just started watching Ultraman in the grand scheme of how long I've been watching the other shows. But if I do know for a fact, if I did try to do anything original for Ultraman, it would definitely be centered around something related to Ultraman Orb and the Orb Caliber and Orb Origin. I can guarantee that much, because I love everything about Orb Origin, the form, and the Orb Caliber. I really want an Orb Caliber. Since you had an idea for Kamen Rider, what about any Sentai ideas? I did have one idea for Q Ranger, which was basically, I'm an Aries, or I was an Aries. I don't know if that changed because of stuff they've discovered, but I had an idea for like an Aries Ranger for Q Ranger, where they had like a gun that had like the ram's horns, and there's a port in the middle where you can put a Q-Tama. The Ranger shoots it and becomes like an Aries Q Ranger. But there are the two horns, and he could attach other Rangers' Q-Tamas to both of the individual horns, and now he like fuses the different Rangers. So like the best example would be like he could put red in one and orange in the other, and now he's a Sasori Orange Ranger colored red, and like the roll call would change based on like the colors that are fused. So like a red Sasori Orange would be like Sting Star Sasori Red, but if you switch the two Q-Tama again, and now you have an orange colored Shishi Red, now it's like Superstar Shishi Orange. That's like the most thought I've ever given to a Sentai idea. I think the mecha as well was like a ram that could convert to a robot, but the arms could detach and could attach other Q-Tama arms to it, depending on the Rangers that are used to switch the colors. It was at the time when Q Ranger was airing, so I really liked Q Ranger, and I wanted to come up with an idea. Hopefully I made adequate visuals on screen, because I've never actually tried to give visuals for what this thing looks like. Which Ultraman show are you interested to watch next? As of now, it's Ultraman Gaia, because Gaia was kind of an interesting character in the Orb Origin saga, and I want to check out an older Ultraman season. I'm not sure where I'm going to go from there, because I'm kind of interested in a lot of them. I would say at least like pretty much anyone from like Heisei to the new generation heroes. I'm kind of interested in any of those shows. And am I a fan of Kamen Rider cosplays? Absolutely. Anyone who does any form of cosplay, not just Kamen Rider, are extremely talented, and I wish I had your talent, because I would want to try to make a cosplay at some point, but I lack that talent, and it would look kind of like hot garbage. What do I think makes tokusatsu shows so great? I think it's kind of what I was talking about earlier with X8 and why I like X8 so much. The nature of the genre is being wacky and silly. They're in suits with big helmets and they punch big rubber monsters in these ridiculous outfits. Like, the nature of the genre, it's crazy, it's silly. But because of that, it allows the storytelling to shine through. Like, you don't really need to focus on like the action, I guess, per se. Obviously you want to, but like the action is kind of already baked into the essence of the show, and it allows the storytelling to shine through so much more. And I think it's just that general kind of ability to balance like this crazy action and genre stuff with this unique storytelling that is kind of what would drive you to enjoy a show. And obviously characters. When I talk about like the unique storytelling, I'm talking about the characters as well. And I think it's also just like the general accessibility of the modern stuff where it changes every year, and you don't need to watch like 45 years of Sentai to enjoy Zenkaiger. You can watch Zenkaiger and hopefully, I guess it's not out yet, but you should be able to relatively understand a season without seeing all the other seasons, which is really cool. Any pets? As of now, no. I had a few goldfish at some point, but they're just goldfish. The closest thing I've had to like an actual pet would be the stuffed animal I had as a child, which I named Bunny because I'm unoriginal, but I really liked Bunny. That's why rabbits and bunnies are my favorite animals, if you didn't know. What do I think of Saber? Aesthetically, I love Saber. Saber's amazing in the aesthetics department. I love the mix and match with the suits. Like, for once, I feel like mix and matching your suits and the forms actually matters. I think O's is the closest second, in my opinion, because there are so many combos in O's. But in Saber, because we have all these different riders that use the same gimmicks, we're able to see Saber use the Jack and the Beanstalk form, which is just like a mix and match form for him. But like, it's marketed as his primary form change in the beginning, but then it's really the main extra form book of Kamen Rider Buster, and then at another point Buster will give the book to Kamen Rider Kenzan, and he gets the same arm that the other two dudes got, and you can throw it over to Kamen Rider Blades and he can use it for an attack. And I just love the way the Wonder Ride books are being thrown around, and it actually feels like they're important weapons that everyone can use in their gear no matter what, not just like one character can use these books. As a show, I think it's fine. It's not amazing. I've seen way better Kamen Rider shows in these first few episodes, but everyone's making it out to be like the worst Kamen Rider show ever, and it's really not. It's perfectly fine, especially in the times we're in. It's fun to have a Kamen Rider show that's just kind of everyone's gonna work together and fight the monsters. Like, I don't know, we don't need anything super over the top every single time. What do I use to record my videos? It varies on the video, but for this, I'm currently using Audacity to record my audio, and I use Adobe After Effects to edit. I know it's not an editing software, really, but I've gotten used to it, and it's very easy to use for me. How did I make my little character, the one that appears in almost every video, the one that's probably on the screen right now as I'm talking? I just took pictures of the Hyper Muteki figure art that I bought. I bought it just because I wanted the Hyper Muteki figure art, but I took pictures of it and digitally edited them in Photoshop to look like a red Muteki because I want a red Muteki. And favorite Pokemon, I don't really know because I don't really play Pokemon. I've never played a Pokemon game other than the card game, but I remember as a kid I for some reason attached to Giratina. I think that's the name of that guy. And thank you for plugging the Discord. I have a Discord server, link in the description, with a Q&A channel, so if you want to ask me any question whenever you want, there is just a channel specifically designed for that. This is a really interesting question. What Kamen Riders would you like to see make a team kind of like Kamen Sentai Go Rider? I'm just gonna make my own rules and say I'm not gonna double up on characters from seasons. I'll probably go with Kamen Rider Cross Z, Kamen Rider Deno, just Ryotaro. If Momotaros gets included in that, fine, but like I want specifically Ryotaro. Kamen Rider Genmu from X8. I know he was part of the original Go Rider, but like actually Kuroto. Kamen Rider Waz, and I guess Kamen Rider Buster from Saber. I think it would be kind of fun to throw like a normal person into this really crazy mix of characters. That would be very fun to watch as a show. I didn't put any thought into colors, so I guess, yeah, there you go. What do I think is the most meh season of Kamen Rider and Super Sentai? Personally, where I'm at now, meh is how I would consider my bottom picks for both of those shows. So Kamen Rider Geo and Lupin Ranger vs. Paddle Ranger, I don't think those are terrible shows. I can see why someone would enjoy them. I enjoy parts of both of those shows as well, but for the most part, I don't really enjoy those shows, but I don't hate them. So both of those I would file under meh. If any season of Kamen Rider would fuse, what would I like to see? Ex-Aid and Saber, because Ex-Aid, I love those aesthetics, and Saber, I love those aesthetics. So some weird fusion of Gashats and Ride Books, which are already kind of the same thing, I would absolutely love that. What will be the first Showa era Rider series I watch? I don't know. I think I will probably gravitate towards either the first season, because that's on Tokusatsu, it's pretty easy to watch, or Black and then Black RX, because they're also like kind of Heisei, so I'll probably be able to like get into Showa more from that. But I don't really know, because I don't really gravitate towards any Showa Riders that much. I might end up watching the movies first, because the movies are their movies. It's going to be easier to watch that. What is my favorite and least favorite Sentai? Current favorite is Ryu Soldier. I know in the original review I said it's second, but my opinion changed like a couple weeks after that video, and Ryu Soldier would be on top. Least favorite, as I mentioned, is Lupin Ranger vs. Paddle Ranger, but I don't hate Lupin Ranger vs. Paddle Ranger. I think there's a lot of good stuff in that show. It's just, for the most part, I didn't really like it. What fan-made toku stories have I made as a child? So there is one book that I made for school, and I might just talk about that in a separate video because it's kind of a lot, but the basic gist of it was I get Kamen Rider powers, and it's basically Decade, but up to X8 I think at the time, and instead of cards, like normal playing cards, they're like credit cards, and you scan it and it transforms. It's stupid, I know, but that's the basic gist of it. If I could remake one show or just change something in it, which one and what exactly would I change? I would change the last 5 episodes of X-Aid slightly to like have a little more emotional impact without spoiling anything, and maybe to be a little bit longer, and then I could call X-Aid the perfect ever season of Kamen Rider. I mean, it's already my favorite season, so it doesn't matter. What do I think of Kamen Rider Dragonite as an adaptation? I have not watched Dragonite, but I do like that it exists, and there's another random Kamen Rider adaptation with a random season like Ryuki that just exists out there in the world. I think that's pretty cool. And the last question, are there any big video projects you have in the works, and can I give an idea of what they are? So there is one idea that I started. I actually kind of finished it last year, but I just kind of decided to put it off. But I did put a lot of work into that, the writing of that, so it's gonna happen. It's a very big ranking video, and the other one is obviously gonna be Tokusatsu Fan Ideas 3. I want to do something big for that because I want to make it the finale, but that's not gonna happen unless you subscribe. So if you're not already subscribed, it's free. Hit the subscribe button and get us one step closer to Tokusatsu Fan Ideas 3, the finale. So yeah, Patreon, that's a thing I have now. If you really enjoy my YouTube content and want to get something new out of it in return for supporting me a little bit extra, then hey, maybe becoming a patron is the right thing for you. For $2 a month, you become a Jujube supporter. You get your name included in every video as a channel supporter. You get an exclusive role in the free-to-join Discord server. You get early access to every video I upload and every live stream I do. You get access to polls for what I should focus on regarding upcoming content, and you get extra footage or behind the scenes content if I happen to have some available for a specific video. And that's it. One tier, $2, all the rewards. For the foreseeable future, I won't be making any main channel content like a full review or something of the like Patreon exclusive. The Patreon is pretty much going to be all additional content to the main stuff on the channel. So if you're not in a financial position to support me on Patreon, please don't worry about it. Just continue supporting everything on the main channel, and that's enough for me. If you're willing to support a little bit more though in return for some extra rewards, then the Patreon is right there in the description. Thank you guys so much for all your support throughout the last year, and I hope you continue to support me this year. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.